good, man. Don't be nervous, all right? If you ain't done nothing, you ain't got nothing to worry about, okay? Well, all this is just gonna tell me one way or the other, okay?
An innocent 19-year-old college student who doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, is studying at the library, and he ends up getting arrested by some cops who apparently have something to prove.
Definitely done something.
I drink energy drinks.
He did nothing wrong. He complied with everything that they asked him to do. He was polite, and most importantly, he was completely sober. Yet that did not save him from these cops and local authorities determined to ruin the kid's life.
So you're not acting like somebody that's on an energy drink.
Because I'm nervous. I've never been in this before.
I'm gonna miss lunchtime, but I reckon we're gonna do it. I'm gonna be placing you in the restroom. I'm gonna read something to you, okay?
Even after his innocence was completely proven, every authority figure in this kid's life chose to back the blue over him, the police over the truth. Pay attention, because this could be you or your kid next. So far this year, there have been nearly 800 major data breaches, exposing over 300 million records, 71% hitting small businesses. On November 3rd, the University of Pennsylvania announced a breach with exposed data potentially on 1.2 million donors. The FBI has been called in to investigate. The numbers are quickly rising, and this means that you and your loved ones are at a constantly increasing risk of being caught up in a data breach as your personal information remains exposed online. This is why I recommend setting up an account with Incogni. Incogni tracks down and removes your personal data from multiple sites, including online directories and people search sites. The process is fully automated, so it continuously removes your data from these places. As of today, Incogni has removed my personal information in 740 different places online. But I also love the custom removal feature available in the Unlimited plan and the Family Unlimited plan that takes down virtually everything you find that's exposed about you online. So check out Incogni using the link below, or go to incogni.com/civil to get an exclusive 60% off. That's incogni.com/civil and use code CIVIL, or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Now let's get back to the video. And welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel. Today I am out in the field in sunny Florida. And Florida, by the way, is one of those states where incidents like this happen all the time. In fact, I experienced it myself as a young college student at the University of Central Florida, where I watched almost this exact thing happen to my best friend. It was midnight in early October. A 19-year-old college football player for Shorter University had been studying at the library. His name was McLean Edward Finneran. And he's a good kid. Not only a college athlete, but he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. At the worst, he'll have an energy drink at the library while studying. On his way out of the library, he accidentally struck a parked vehicle in the parking lot. And being such a good kid, he called the cops on himself in order to get a police report generated. Which in hindsight was a bad idea, but he was just doing what he had been told. He follows the rules. He was trying to do the right thing. Finneran contacted campus security and told them what had happened. Campus security then, apparently being totally useless, called the Rome City Police. This is in Georgia, by the way. They were then dispatched to the Shorter University parking lot, where they found this super nice, completely sober, very polite kid. This is Rome City Police Officer Coleman White. He thinks he's smarter than he is, and I wouldn't be surprised if he resents college kids. Maybe he has something to prove. Whatever the reason, he made the wrong assumption that Finneran was intoxicated. He gave him a breathalyzer and he passed 0.00. But remember, he's smarter than college kids. He wants to prove it, so he talks to this other knuckle-dragging scientist with a badge, and they decide
What's up? Fuck you.
to investigate this kid for driving under the influence. Because why not ruin this kid's life for no good reason?
Walk over here in front of this car, man. Yes, sir. We're gonna do some field sobriety to make sure you're safe to drive. Okay? You go with that? Yes, sir.
Officer Coleman White then begins to give these field sobriety tests to this kid. And the first test that he gave him was this horizontal gaze test, the HGN for short. And this is where you stand still with your feet together, hands at your sides, and you follow a stimulus, usually a pen or a fingertip, with your eyes only, no head movement.
Alright, just stand boots on. Hey, come on. Hey, oh, look. Center yourself. Alright, scoot over this way. Take one step towards me. Take your hands out of your pockets. Put them down by your side. Okay. And
Just kidding.
You good, man? Don't be nervous, all right? If you ain't done nothing, you ain't got nothing to worry about, okay? And all this is just gonna tell me one way or the other, okay?
I do have contacts in. This one's been bothering me, so it's just one better.
Okay. Can you see the tip of my finger right here?
See?
You got any injuries to your head or your eyes that keep you from being able to follow it from side to side like this?
When I was a DUI prosecutor in Raleigh, North Carolina, I tried several dozen DUI trials and I worked on many others. And at that time, it was common knowledge within the entire criminal justice system there, the cops, judges, prosecutors, defense lawyers, that the only halfway reliable test out of these standardized field sobriety tests was this one. And that's because your eyes are much more objective than just police officers judging someone's performance on these other tests. The officer is supposed to look for eyes that don't track smoothly, that are instead jerky. And here it's difficult to see, but there does not appear to be any indication of any unusual tracking by Finneran's eyes.
I do have iPad vision.
So you got contacts in?
Yes, sir.
Right. Focus on the tip of my finger. And follow it with your eyes and your eyes only, okay?
Which we can just about see from this angle. And certainly nothing was documented here as evidence of intoxication or impairment, despite the whole thing being video recorded. So after the sobriety tests were over and just prior to putting the handcuffs on this kid, Officer White claims that he had, quote, one clue on walk and turn.
Alright. Imagine a straight line right out here in front of you. Right here. Take your left foot, place it straight out in front of you on that line, just like I'm doing. Okay. Take your right foot, place it heel to toe against your left foot, just like I'm doing.
Put your hands out of your pockets.
Yeah, take your arms out, put them down by your side. Stay in that position, don't start the test till I tell you to. You understand that? Yes, sir. Okay.
But watching the entire footage, Finneran followed the instructions exactly as he was instructed. He stayed on a straight line, hands by his side, one foot in front of the other, heel to toe, counting out his steps, 1 through 9. Just go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then he turned around when he reached 9, just as he was told.
You said left, right? Yeah, whichever one you're in on is the one that stays on the ground.
Then he did another 9 steps back along a straight line 1 through 9 until he was finished. So just where exactly was this alleged clue? Who knows? It could be completely made up. If anything there counted against Finneran, a sober college football player, it could have counted against 99% of the population under the same circumstances. The next test that was administered was the one-leg stand. Officer White also claimed that he had a so-called clue on the one-leg stand test. But watching the footage, again, just like the walk and turn, it just seems to be made up bullshit. He was told to keep both legs straight and to raise either leg 6 inches off the ground, keeping his arms down by his side, eyes looking at his raised foot, and then to count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, and so forth, until I tell you to stop.
Stay in that position, don't start the test until I tell you to, alright? Alright. So when I tell you to begin, you're going to pick whichever leg you want, left or right, it don't matter. You're going to bring it approximately 6 inches off the ground. Keep your arms down by your side. Both of your legs straight. Look down at your foot and count 1001, 1002, 1003, and so forth until I tell you to stop.
Those were the instructions, and so the kid does it. And White lets him get all the way to 1019, and the kid was flawless. He did not lose his balance. He didn't really budge the entire time. He followed instructions exactly. Where was this clue? There was no clue. White is just a liar, or maybe an idiot, or maybe both. And then they did this Romberg balance test. So there's this test where Officer White tells him to close his eyes, to tilt his head backwards, and then to silently estimate when 30 seconds has passed. And then when 30 seconds has passed, he's told to open his eyes, to tilt his head back forwards, and then say stop.
Close your eyes, tilt your head backwards, and I want you to estimate the passage of 30 seconds in your head. You understand that? So eyes closed, head backwards, and you're estimating 30 seconds in your head. When you get to 30 seconds, I want you to tilt your head forward, open your eyes, and say stop. You understand that?
This test is not one of the three, quote, standardized field sobriety tests, which are the walk and turn, the one-leg stand, and the horizontal gaze nystagmus. I think that's how you say that. It's widely used as an additional divided attention and psychophysical test during DUI stops. In other words, if the suspect has passed the other test, why not give this additional test so as to increase your chances at being able to arrest an innocent person that night? Officer White is supposed to be timing Finneran to see how accurate his internal clock is, with more than 5 seconds off in either direction, allegedly indicating signs of impairment. Officer White is also supposed to be observing Finneran for swaying, eyelid tremors, body tremors, or inability to stand still. In reality, however, after Officer White orders Finneran to begin the test, he almost immediately begins to not even watch Finneran's performance, which was seemingly perfect.
All right, go ahead and close your eyes, tilt your head backwards. I'll tell you when to start, okay? And you may begin.
And instead starts to look around and talk with his colleague. He wasn't even paying attention much of the time. As for Finneran's performance, it was almost perfect, estimating the passage of 30 seconds at around 33 to 34 seconds. In other words, he passed the test. Yet somehow, according to Officer Coleman White of the Rome Police Department, Finneran failed the test and provided him with yet another clue that Finneran was allegedly impaired.
What have you done today? When's the last time you smoked marijuana?
I don't smoke.
You've definitely done something.
I drink energy drinks.
You're not acting like somebody that's on an energy drink.
Because I'm nervous. I've never been in this position. I went to pick up my girlfriend. Went back to her place. And I got back around 10:30 to do homework. And I was leaving to go back to my dorm.
This is,
No thing.
I don't know if he thought he was. You couldn't have been backing.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
She was properly parking. Because the students just aren't supposed to park there because it's for something else. But I mean, it was in a private lot. It was also a Class D license. Shouldn't have driven anyway.
I've got an accident and I've got multiple things that I can name. Got one clue on walk and turn. I've got some stuff on one leg stand, modified brown bird. I'm gonna miss lunchtime, but I reckon we're gonna do it. I'm gonna be placing you in the rest for
I'm gonna read something to you, okay?
based off of the accident that you had and the field sobriety test that we did, I've got enough problem cause to believe that she's under the influence of something other than alcohol. Drug of some kind. I have my suspicions, but I don't know 100%. You're under the age of 21, correct?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so at this point you are being placed under arrest for driving under influence. Okay? Alright. Is your car unlocked?
It is.
Alright.
Looks like somebody, is that his truck? Looks like somebody parked it.
Okay, well, we shouldn't have done that yet, but we're going to search the car, incident to arrest.
That's fine. So I put your key and your wallet inside your
got
phone.
inside the vehicle?
Yeah. This sheet and the wallet.
Alright, search him, make sure you got it on, put him back in the car.
Yeah. We didn't need you to do that, Jeff.
You got anything on you that's going to poke that or so you can anything like that? Any weapons or anything? Yes, sir. self-reporting and all that.
We called 1095 already.
I thought you did.
42 dispatch 1095.
I do have a question.
What's up,
Am I
man?
allowed to ask? So, if it were to come back, like, nothing wrong, like, what's the whole thing behind that?
So that part would have to get worked out in court, obviously. I mean, I do wish the best for you, man. And, you know, if everything does come back, then, you know, obviously you can move forward from there, okay?
I'm just confused. Because when I tell you, I don't do anything like that.
I got you. All right. Hang tight for me. Those cuts feel okay?
Yeah.
I mean, they're uncomfortable, but
How long is this going to take, you think?
it just depends. We obviously have to search the truck and stuff, so a little bit. All right.
After performing the field sobriety test as well as anyone could have, the officers arrested Finneran for DUI, despite his pleas that he had taken no alcohol or drugs and would consent to blood testing immediately. Officers also never found any evidence of medication or drug paraphernalia, alcohol, etc. inside his truck. Finneran, who is from St. Simons, spent a night in jail and was fortunately later exonerated after a Georgia Bureau of Investigation blood test and urine analysis both came back negative for any type of drug or substance in his system. In other words, it can't be disputed that Finneran was completely sober. Yet he was arrested by these police officers for not being sober. According to reports, Finneran nearly lost his place on the Shorter University football team as the kicker, and he was nearly expelled because of this arrest. Kudos to Shorter University for supporting their completely innocent student athlete. As a former college football player, I say this with all possible sincerity. Shorter University sucks. They had an opportunity to protect their student, whose well-being was placed in their care, and they failed miserably, which is probably why you've never even heard of this university in the first place. But let's get to the Rome police, which suck even more. A spokesman for the Rome City Police said to the media, another RPD officer, an experienced DUI investigator who has previously testified as an expert witness, reviewed the case in its entirety and confirmed that probable cause existed for the arrest based on the observations and field sobriety testing documented at the time. Okay, who is this guy? Give us his name. Does he even exist? Because we can all see with our own eyes that he's full of shit. Is he ashamed to stand behind his opinion publicly? Or is this just a secret opinion that the public is just expected to trust without even knowing his name? The case was nolli prosequi, I guess just dismissed under the discretion of the prosecutor, in municipal court weeks after the arrest. So the local prosecutors dropped the charge, but that doesn't mean that this arrest doesn't remain on this kid's record. The best part of this entire ordeal was that Officer Coleman White did actually receive formal discipline for his actions in this case. It's not what you think, though. Not for arresting an innocent college kid and attempting to ruin his life for no reason. No, that would be admitting actual fault and holding a government employee actually accountable, which they can't allow to happen. It's better to just gaslight the public. Coleman received formal discipline for substandard report writing. Additionally, internal procedures have been adjusted to ensure incomplete reports cannot be released in the future. Yeah, the entire problem here was an incomplete report, not the fact that they arrested this innocent kid. Alright, so let's get this straight. These police officers arrived to the scene of a college kid who called campus police on himself, self-reporting that he accidentally hit another car in the library parking lot after a late night of studying, and they observed no evidence of the kid being intoxicated, and in fact they tested his breath and found he had zero alcohol in his system. Thanks to their body cams, we know that they observed no evidence of this kid being intoxicated through 4 different field sobriety tests, which is itself evidence that this kid was not intoxicated or impaired. But for whatever reason, and possibly just because they could, they arrested this kid for DUI, with zero evidence of DUI to form the basis of probable cause. And this is a larger problem across the country. This incident follows similar cases around the country raising questions about the field sobriety test reliability. A National Medical Association journal study found that police officers classified 49% of sober participants in field sobriety testing as impaired during a marijuana field sobriety test. And getting back to this particular injustice, when the blood test results inevitably showed that he was not impaired or intoxicated in any way, all the relevant authorities involved fully supported this warrantless arrest of a completely innocent, sober college kid. And why? They claim there is probable cause for this arrest. And where is the probable cause? He did not fail the breathalyzer. As a former DUI prosecutor, I see absolutely nothing less than a stellar performance of not just 3, but 4 field sobriety tests. And the kid was polite and he was cooperative. He was able to communicate like a normal, sober person. There literally was no probable cause for this arrest. An arrest that we know for a fact was the arrest of an innocent, sober person. I understand that cops sometimes make mistakes when forced to make difficult split-second decisions. But go ahead and tell me in the comments, what am I missing here? Tell me one single reasonable explanation for how and why this innocent kid was arrested that doesn't involve malicious intent by these cops or at best, utter incompetence. As always, I will put all of the relevant contact information in the description below so that if these are your public servants, you can make sure that others know, and hopefully they will be held accountable for not doing their jobs and serving the public like they're supposed to. They're not going to hold themselves accountable. Only through you sharing this footage and making sure that everybody has seen what they did to this innocent person and what could also happen to them or their child or their grandchild will there be any accountability here. So share this footage, comment, like, so that it does well in the algorithm and the most eyes as possible sees what the Rome Police Department and Officer Coleman White did to this innocent kid, trying to ruin his life. If I hear anything else, I will update, and you can follow along at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.